Hi, Alex here from Rebeloper.com and welcome back to the Christmas calendar tutorial series, and in this episode I will show you how you can use the FlatUI colors that we all love. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Great. Now, what is FlatUI colors, you ask me? Now, if you don't know that, go ahead and take a look at their site, FlatUIColors.com, and they have these beautiful palettes that you can use in your app. Now, usually what we would do is, let's say, go into the FlatUI palette version 1, select one of our colors, click on continue, and this hex number has been copied to our clipboard and we can use that in our code. Now that is kind of tedious, and of course you need to write your own UI color implementation using hex and so on. In this episode, I will give you a tool that makes this all so super easy. So let's just minimize this and go ahead and click the link down below for the resources. It's on my site, and once you download it, you will have this FlatUI Colors Swift folder. Now we will drag and drop this into our Xcode project, so let's create one for that. Okay, let me open up Xcode and create a new Xcode project, and I will use this single view app from Rebeloper. If you don't already know, go ahead and check out my other YouTube video on how to create your very own custom Xcode project templates, and this one removes the main.storyboard altogether and we can start coding right off the bat as we usually do. So let's click on next and let's name this FlatUI Colors Swift. Okay, and I will have the root view controller. Let's name this root view controller. Okay, you can take a look at the previous video on custom templates on what this basically is. Okay, for now let's just click on the next and add this to, let me just go here to our code folder, and I will I will not create a Git repository because this is just all about that library that you have just downloaded. Okay, let's click on create, and there we go. We have our Xcode project created, and as you can see, there is no more main.storyboard. Okay, now what you want to do is go ahead and grab the FlatUI Colors Swift folder and drag and drop it onto your project. Make sure copy items if needed is checked, create groups is checked, because create folder references just adds a reference to the downloaded file, and for whatever reason those are deleted, then your Xcode project cannot find them anymore. Basically, this copies and pastes them into the Xcode project. Okay, and make sure add to targets is checked. Okay, let's click on finish, and here we go. Let's take a look at what we got here. First of all, let me just show you the creators of these palettes. Go ahead and if you wish, go ahead and check them out. They are also available on FlatUIColors.com when you enter the palette. Okay, here we have our FlatUI Colors Swift.xc assets. That X is Xcode assets, and we have a folder here, FlatUI Colors Swift. If you open it up, you will see that I have prepared for you all of the palettes that are inside FlatUIColors.com. And now let's just open up some of them. Let's say the first one is FlatUI. And as you can see, all of them are inside here. Let's take a look at the French. Ooh. And the British. So these are all of the color sets that FlatUIColors.com uses. Now, let's just jump right into our root view controller and let's take a look at how we can use them. And for now, let me just, as usual, go to our preferences and set these fonts to be a little larger so you may see. Now, how can we use a color from these FlatUI Colors Swift assets? So first of all, let's type in here, let's say, let my color. And what I usually do, and I could use image literals or something like that, and I also have a YouTube video on that, so go ahead and check that out. I would go ahead and hit Command Shift and M, and that would bring up the media library. Let me just clear this search, and as you can see here we have all of our media, including our FlatUI colors. And basically, if you have a lot more assets, let's say another asset catalog with your button images or whatever, background images, they will be listed here. So what you want to do is search. And I will search for our Spanish FlatUI colors, and it is here. So let's see, I will use this Eye of Newt, and what I want to do is just simply drag and drop from the media library. And there we go, we have our color initialized. Okay, it hasn't been used, so I will just fix this error by basically giving it this underscore. Okay, now what else do we need? Well, let's say we want to have our view's background color to be black, and that is pretty simple. View background color equals, and I will choose again from our media library, so Command Shift M again, and let me see what type of color. I will use this crocodile tooth. It is not black, but it looks awesome. So now let us just build and run and see how our view's background color came this crocodile tooth. There we go, and as you can see we have our crocodile tooth background color added. Pretty sweet and pretty simple if you ask me, compared to what we would have to do to add all of this otherwise. Okay, now next up we have here a FlatUIColors Swift.Swift file, and if you take a look at it, we have here a struct called AppColors. Now I want to teach you a technique that I usually use when dealing with the theme of my app. And that is this struct. It is called AppColors, and I have a main color, a secondary color, a ternary color, and of course this can be extended, and we will do that. But for now, let us just add a main color for our app. So let's go back to the root view controller, and let's say we want to have that main color to be represented in the background. Okay, so first of all, I would set up this main color. So AppColors.main equals to, and I will bring up the media library again and drag and drop the color of what I want. And now what I can do is not drag and drop all the time these colors from the media library. When I want to use the main color, I just type in AppColors.main. Of course, this does the same, but on the long run, this makes coding it out fairly easier. Okay, now what we can do next is extend this. Let's say we don't want the main color to be our background color, because the main color usually is, let's say, a button color or something like that, or the logo color, that it's not the background color. So let us create or extend AppColors to have that background color. So what we want to do is, you could create a separate file for this or whatever. I will just add it right here. So let's create an extension for our struct AppColors. Okay, and here we will add our static var and let's say background, and it will be a UI color. Okay, if you don't know what you want to, I believe it is not equals here, it just like so. Let's take a look at what we have here. It is equals. Okay, and maybe let's create it a public static variable. Okay, let's add here a public and change that back to like so. Okay, now what we want to do is again assign for the background color a new color, and let's open up our media library. Let it be this time this, let's say this celestial green. Awesome. Okay, now for the background we want to use appcolors.background, and that is it. Let's build and run for the last time for our project. And of course you can add button colors, label colors to your liking. Of course, take a look at the FlatUI colors palette for everything that you can choose from. It's a really nice palette set, so I usually use them in my apps, so go ahead and you do so. Now that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and click the notification bell to get notified when I release these awesome video tutorials. Now here is the question of the day. Which one of these color palettes do you like most? Is it the American, the Aussie, the German, the Indian, the Spanish, the Swedish? Go ahead and comment down below, and I will see you in the next one.